Chapter 81 The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 17. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Gu Qingjun watched as Old Man Gu pulled a stack of documents from the safe. After reading them, Gu Qingjun, his father, and his mother were completely stunned. The documents detailed the Gu family business's failures over the past few months. It was everything from employee issues to problems in previously smooth sectors. Basically, everything was going wrong. The Gu family had faced more issues recently than they had in years. "Dad," Gu's father said, puzzled, "I'm bummed about all the problems too, but what does this have to do with Qingjun?" That he was upset about the family's troubles, but didn't see how Qingjun was the cause. "Master Zhang says someone in our family offended a master, and Qingjun's the one who did it." Gu Qingjun was dumbfounded. Sure, things had been rough lately, and he'd been unusually unlucky, but how did that make him the source of the family's misfortune? "Grandpa," he asked, "how could I be the reason everything's falling apart?" Gu's father and mother stared at Old Man Gu, just as puzzled. How could this possibly be their son's fault? "Master Zhang said the unluckiest person in the family is." Old Man Gu trailed off. Seeing their disbelief, he continued, "You know how good Master Zhang is. He saved me from a disaster, and that's why the Gu family's where it is today. He's a close friend. Why would he deceive us? Besides, he said if we cut ties with Qingjun, the Gu family's luck will turn around. If he's wrong and Qingjun's not the problem, we'll bring him back. So, Qingjun needs to leave for a while, and then we'll see if Master Zhang's telling the truth." "Dad, but Qingjun's my only son. How can we do this?" Gu's father tried to appeal to his emotions. He knew his father's mind was made up. Master Zhang had a proven track record, and the old man would believe him. And Old Man Gu was the family's decision-maker. Once he decided on something, nobody could change it, especially when the entire Gu family was at stake. "I know this is tough, and cruel to Qingjun, but it's about the Gu family's survival. I won't let anyone destroy us." Gu Qingjun listened to his father and grandfather arguing. It was like they'd forgotten he was there. Only his mother looked at him with a mixture of sadness and reluctance. He finally realized he was getting kicked out of the family, and there was nothing he could do about it. He watched his parents and grandfather plead, but it was no use. A few hours later, he and his parents walked out of the Gu family mansion and back to their smaller home outside. The trip home took twice as long, and Gu's father and mother couldn't help but wonder if Master Zhang might be right, but they kept those thoughts to themselves. Back at the house, Qingjun went to his room in a daze, packed a few things, and left. His grandfather had told him to cut ties with the Gu family as soon as possible, so he wouldn't drag them down. It was ridiculous. He didn't believe it. Master Zhang was a fraud. His grandfather was giving up on him over a few words, and his parents were going along with it. It was absurd. His parents were waiting for him at the door. They started to say something, then stopped. Finally, they told him to take care of himself and that they'd bring him back soon. Then they watched him go. As he walked away, he felt lost. How had things gone so wrong? Yesterday, he was the respected Mr. Gu. Today, he was cut off from his family and homeless. The world was crazy. Seeing Gu Qingjun get kicked out like this, the system was shocked, then burst into enthusiastic praise. "Host, you're amazing." Shi Qing listened to the system and said nothing. In the original story, Gu Qingjun ruined the Su family and took pride in his Gu family connections. He decided people's fates on a whim. Now, Shi Qing had the Gu family turn on him, letting him experience the kind of helplessness he used to inflict on others. Gu Qingjun didn't know where to go. He hailed a cab and told the driver to just drive. The driver thought it was weird, but didn't care as long as he got paid. He drove Gu Qingjun to Luyun Street, the busiest area in town. He figured he could pick up another fare quickly after dropping this one off. Sitting in the car, wrinkling his nose at the smell, Gu Qingjun watched the city go by, his face twisting with emotions. "Host, Gu Qingjun's really showing his feelings, just like you used to do when you were acting. Do you think he'll become an actor now that he's homeless?" "No, he's just confused and thinking too much. He's too proud to be an actor. And don't forget, he's cursed. Right. Shi Qing stopped paying attention to Gu Qingjun and picked up his script. The driver was happy with his fare. He kept hitting red lights, and traffic was terrible. It had taken twice as long to get to Luyun Street as usual. Luckily, it was a metered fare, and the customer hadn't complained and paid right away. As he pulled away, he picked up another customer. He was having a lucky day. Gu Qingjun wandered aimlessly. Nearby, Lin Luoxue was also walking down the street. She was shopping with her roommates. She'd been down lately, so she decided to join them. Shopping usually cheered her up, but she was in debt now. Window shopping only made her feel worse. As Lin Luoxue and her roommates left the store, they spotted a man who stood out in the crowd. Lin Luoxue's heart skipped a beat. It was Gu Qingjun. Gu Qingjun, the president of Ninghui Entertainment. What was he doing here? He looked troubled and out of sorts. Lin Luoxue wasn't the only one who noticed Gu Qingjun. Her roommates had seen him too, along with several other people nearby. Gu Qingjun had been raised to be exceptional. His looks and demeanor made him stand out. Everyone else was staring at him because of his appearance, but Lin Luoxue was thinking about how to get close to this big shot. Chapter 82 The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 18. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Walking past Gu Qingjun with her roommate, Lin Luoxue acted like nothing was amiss, but inside she was plotting how to get closer to him. That's Gu Qingjun. The CEO of Ninghui Entertainment, a real VIP, finally meeting him, she wanted to see if she could make an impression. If she got signed by Ninghui Entertainment, she wouldn't have to sweat those online loans anymore. After leaving her roommate, Lin Luoxue made an excuse to sneak back to where she'd seen Gu Qingjun, but he was gone. She was bummed. Meeting someone like him was a stroke of luck, and she'd missed her chance. Then, turning around, she saw him again. It was like sunshine breaking through the clouds. Seeing Gu Qingjun still looking preoccupied, Lin Luoxue took a deep breath and approached him. Hi, you look like something's bugging you. If you want to talk about it, I'm here to listen. It might help. Gu Qingjun, lost in thought, looked up at the voice. A cute, lively girl was standing in front of him, a stranger. Gu Qingjun wasn't really in the mood, but he replied out of politeness, "Hello. Are you having trouble with something?" "Maybe I can help," Lin Luoxue asked, playing the innocent, enthusiastic card. She knew she probably couldn't actually solve his problems, she just wanted to start a conversation. "I'm okay." "You definitely don't look okay," Lin Luoxue pressed, seeing he wasn't completely shutting her down. Seeing the girl's concern, Gu Qingjun's normally guarded heart softened, and he felt a sudden urge to open up. He looked up and said, almost helplessly, "I'm homeless." Lin Luoxue, huh? Thinking she'd misheard, she asked, "What did you say?" "I got kicked out of my family." Confirming she'd heard right, Lin Luoxue was thrown for a loop. What the heck was going on? This hadn't happened in her previous life. She was confused, but quickly reasoned that she'd had no contact with him then. It wasn't that surprising. The important thing was that he was still the president of Ninghui Entertainment. With that thought, Lin Luoxue smiled genuinely. Is it just a misunderstanding? No parent really wants to disown their kid. Seeing Gu Qingjun's downcast expression, she changed the subject. Do you have any money? If not, I can spot you some. You can use it to get back on your feet, and then sort things out with your parents in a few days. Hearing her sympathetic tone, Gu Qingjun said, "They really don't want me anymore." No one could change the old man's mind. The initial rebellious thrill had worn off, leaving him feeling pretty low. He was in his 20s and self-sufficient, but being kicked out by his own family for no good reason still stung. Seeing Gu Qingjun's insistence, Lin Luoxue quickly agreed. Yeah, it's their fault. How could they do that? You should find a place to stay first, and we'll figure it out later. Okay, thanks. The system, watching their conversation unfold and end with them heading to a hotel, was stunned when Lin Luoxue left after Gu Qingjun checked in. Before leaving, they'd exchanged contact info. it had expected Lin Luoxue to strike out like she did with Xie Yingui. Instead, they'd clicked instantly and become friends faster than in the original timeline. Host, they're moving really fast. Shi Qing just hummed, not surprised. Gu Qingjun was at his lowest point, feeling lost and down. He needed someone to comfort him and have his back. Lin Luoxue swooping in now would naturally accelerate their relationship. Seeing how things were developing, Shi Qing wasn't in a rush to act. He needed to restore the Gu family to its former state and make Mr. Gu believe that Gu Qingjun truly was a jinx, destined to bring ruin to the family. He had to be convicted of that crime and exiled from the family for good. The reason Mr. Gu had been so quick to drive Gu Qingjun away was due to Shi Qing's manipulations. Shi Qing had slipped him a harmless charm that created an illusion, allowing him to see the supposed disasters that Gu Qingjun, the bad luck charm, would bring upon the family. After a few days, Mr. Gu was convinced, both for his own well-being and that of the Gu family. On Master Zhang's advice, he'd given up on Gu Qingjun without hesitation. Shi Qing, observing the Gu family's surveillance system, saw Mr. Gu enjoying afternoon tea. He didn't seem at all affected by banishing a grandson. He was as relaxed as always, which wasn't surprising. Mr. Gu had plenty of sons, daughters, and grandkids. The moment he decided to get rid of Gu Qingjun, he'd written him off completely. Gu Qingjun stayed in the hotel for a few days. His streak of bad luck seemed to be diminishing, and life wasn't quite as miserable. Lin Luoxue had been in touch with him constantly. Gu Qingjun thought she was a great girl, and their connection deepened. Gu Qingjun was starting to think his current life wasn't so bad. He didn't have to worry about the company. Maybe he could treat it as a vacation. Besides, after calming down, he realized Lin Luoxue had a point. He didn't believe his grandfather's reasons for disowning him. The whole dragging down the family thing was nonsense. He didn't believe Master Zhang's claims at all. He was a fraud. He could go back to the Gu family, back to Ninghui Entertainment, and everything would be as it was before. After that realization, he wasn't as depressed. He regained his confidence and composure. Lin Luoxue, no longer stressed about her mounting debt, contacted Gu Qingjun daily. They occasionally went out for dinner. Their relationship was getting serious. She wasn't just thinking about being an artist with Ninghui Entertainment anymore. She had bigger dreams. If she could win over Gu Qingjun and become the boss of Ninghui Entertainment, wouldn't that be even better? Then she'd have everything she wanted, and she'd be on top of the world. With that in mind, she worked harder to contact and please Gu Qingjun. With her relentless efforts, they became a couple in just a month. Chapter 83, The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 19. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The system was floored when the main couple of the story got together ahead of schedule. Shi Qing didn't really care. If they hooked up, it would just make dealing with them both at the same time easier. After Gu Qingjun got kicked out of the Gu mansion, Grandpa Gu had his credit cards cut off. But he still had a few cards of his own with enough cash to live on for quite a while. Shi Qing wasn't in a rush. He figured he'd let their relationship deepen a bit before making his move. Now that he saw Lin Luoxue and him together, in the original storyline, they were the couple everyone envied. He couldn't let them break up just because he showed up. Who knew what Lin Luoxue would do if she got cold feet? Now that they were officially dating, Lin Luoxue was convinced that Gu Qingjun's setback was temporary and he'd bounce back to the Gu family. She'd become the lady boss of Ninghui Entertainment. So she was happy to bleed Gu Qingjun's card dry, one purchase at a time. In the original plot, Gu Qingjun trashed the original owner's company just because Lin Luoxue egged him on. Time to let him experience what it's like to be broke. The system loved Shi Qing's idea and jumped right on it. It was practically a pro at this kind of thing. So, after Gu Qingjun and Lin Luoxue had dinner at a fancy restaurant, Gu Qingjun went to pay the bill and got the insufficient funds message. "Sir, I'm sorry, the card was declined." Gu Qingjun automatically reached for the card, but stopped when he heard what the waiter said. "What? What do you mean declined?" "Sir, it really didn't go through. Do you want to try another card or pay a different way?" Gu Qingjun didn't believe it. He couldn't afford to be embarrassed in public for not having the money to pay for his meal. He walked over to the card reader and asked the clerk to try again. Sure enough, same result. The card was rejected. What's going on here? How could this be happening? Sir, the balance is too low. Do you have another card? The clerk gently reminded Gu Qingjun. Seeing his confused expression, Gu Qingjun was stunned. What the heck? He knew for a fact he had tens of millions in the account. How could the balance be low? He tried it himself, and yep, there it was, insufficient funds glaring back at him from the card reader screen. What in the world was going on? Seeing Lin Luoxue looking bewildered, Gu Qingjun decided to call the cops. He'd already lost face in front of Luoxue. Gu Qingjun was mortified, but he still wanted his card back. Before, tens of millions was pocket change, but now, that money was his lifeline. For his future, he had to get it back. The police showed up pretty quickly. Learning that it involved tens of millions, they took it seriously. They took statements from Gu Qingjun, Lin Luoxue, and the clerk, promising to get to the bottom of it ASAP. Gu Qingjun felt a wave of relief. But it was too soon. The police came up empty. The system could easily get away with whatever it wanted, considering the tech in this world, and the money that Gu Qingjun was so worried about. The system had already quietly transferred it to several legitimate charities. Gu Qingjun waited and waited for news from the police. He was running out of cash to pay for the hotel, so he had to move out. Seeing Gu Qingjun's slightly disheveled appearance, Lin Luoxue pretended to feel bad. But inside, she was ecstatic. A relationship that weathers the storm is a strong one. She was standing by Gu Qingjun during his hard times. How could he not love her in the future? Qingjun, I don't know what your family is doing or why they kicked you out, but I'll always be there for you. Lin Luoxue said affectionately in their cheap rental house. Gu Qingjun was deeply moved. He hugged Lin Luoxue tight, gazing at her with adoration. Thank you, Luoxue. Seeing Gu Qingjun so emotional, Lin Luoxue knew her future as the lady boss of Ninghui Entertainment was practically guaranteed. It was worth telling her parents she needed money to pay for fees, tricking her dad into sending the money and then use it to rent a place for Gu Qingjun. Lin Luoxue was smug about her bright future. Gu Qingjun felt like he'd found the most loving and supportive girl in the world. Their relationship was moving at warp speed. At the same time, Xuanhuan got some good news. Sue's mom was pregnant. The system told him first, then a few minutes later, he got a call from Sue's dad announcing the big news. Son, you said before that you'd love to have a younger sibling, and now your wish is coming true. Sue's dad was obviously thrilled. Xuanhuan could hear the joy in his voice. Dad, are you serious? I'm getting a brother or sister. Xuanhuan played along perfectly, with genuine excitement in his voice. After acting in so many roles, he could slip into character like a pro. Yes, your mother is pregnant. I was worried you wouldn't take it well. This is awesome. Why wouldn't I? Dad, please tell Mom not to worry so much and to take care of herself. Okay. The father and son talked for a few more minutes before hanging up. That evening, Xuanhuan got a call from Sue's mom. Son, would you like a younger sibling? Hearing Sue's mom's hesitant question, Xuanhuan couldn't help but smile. I'd love it. Really? Sue's mom's voice went up a notch, clearly surprised. Totally. I used to be so jealous of other kids who had brothers and sisters. Xuanhuan was channeling the elementary school version of the original owner. Well, Mom has news for you. You're getting a younger sibling. Maybe even two. Mom, is this for real? I'm so happy. I'll be a big brother. Really, Mom would never lie to you. Xuanhuan chatted with Sue's mom for a while before hanging up. After Sue's mom hung up, Sue's dad said, I told you our son would love it. He told me before. You were worried for nothing. Now you can relax. Yeah. Sue's mom responded with a huge smile. A few days later, Xuanhuan went back home. Sue's parents saw that their son was the same as always, and they finally felt relieved. Seeing that they knew how he felt, Xuanhuan went back to school. Xuanhuan chilled in class every day, and occasionally watched Lin Luoxue and Gu Qingjuan's drama unfold. Life was good. Lin Luoxue, on the other hand, was getting anxious. Gu Qingjun had gone silent. He hadn't contacted his family at all. Chapter 84, The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qingjun, you really should get in touch with your family. It's been killing me to see you living like this. Lin Luoxue looked at Gu Qingjun, her face etched with concern. In their cramped apartment, honestly, Lin Luoxue was getting fed up. Gu Qingjun had been mooching off her for weeks. She'd even had to take out online loans to cover his expenses. Seeing her debt pile up made her stomach churn. She was with Gu Qingjun because she envisioned a comfortable future together, not to be his personal charity case. She was already drowning in debt. Supporting someone else was too much. Plus, Lin Luoxue had noticed something weird about Gu Qingjun. He seemed to be plagued by bad luck. Nothing major, but the constant stream of little mishaps was starting to get on her nerves. Gu Qingjun was good-looking, sure, but she was a film academy student surrounded by guys who were just as, if not more, attractive. If she hadn't been dreaming of a life of luxury, she would have dumped him already. Didn't Gu Qingjun realize how dire his situation was? He needed to call his family pronto. What was he even thinking? Why was he slumming it and moping around instead of being a hotshot CEO? Lin Luoxue's mind was racing, but she maintained her facade of a sweet, caring girlfriend. Gu Qingjun, oblivious to the inner turmoil, was touched by her concern. Okay, I'll call my mother later. Luoxue, don't worry. Even if I can't go back, I'll never let you suffer because of me. Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. Lin Luoxue flashed a radiant smile, conveniently ignoring the can't go back part. Can't go back. No way. In her past life, Gu Qingjun was the president of Ninghui Entertainment. He had to go back. Lin Luoxue stayed with Gu Qingjun for a while longer before heading back to school. As soon as she left, Gu Qingjun dialed his mother. His mother answered, her voice filled with complex emotions. Hey, Qingjun. How have you been? Mom, I'm doing okay. How's Grandpa? Knowing he was asking about the Gu family's issues, his mother hesitated. Things had returned to normal after Gu Qingjun left. Which only reinforced the old man Gu's belief that Gu Qingjun would be the family's ruin. He had gathered everyone together, solemnly relayed this prophecy, and forbade anyone from contacting Gu Qingjun. Anyone caught secretly helping him would be cut off from the family, too. That's why she hadn't reached out. She had another child, a daughter. They were all under old man Gu's watchful eye. If she helped Gu Qingjun, she risked being exiled from the family. What would happen to her daughter then? What would happen to her own family, who depended on the Gu family's support? So, she hadn't initiated any contact. She was surprised to get his call after all these months. Qingjun, things here have calmed down since you left. Your grandfather has made it clear that no one in the family is allowed to contact you. Maybe you should stay away for a while. Your father and I will see what we can do. Mom, what do you mean by that? Gu Qingjun's voice was strained. Qingjun, Mom, your sister, and your grandparents, we can't just walk away from the Gu family like you did. Can you understand that? Understand? What was there to understand? Even though he and his mother had never been particularly close, Gu Qingjun felt a sharp pang when he heard her words. He had suspected something was wrong, but he had hoped he was wrong. Mom, so you're abandoning me too, aren't you? That's not true, Qingjun. I'll find a way. Gu Qingjun hung up before she could finish. He knew, deep down, that he wasn't going back. The Gu family was old man Gu's lifeblood. If Master Zhang's prophecy was true, and he was a threat to the family, then old man Gu would never let him return. He refused to believe he was a curse on his family. How could he be? But the situation was undeniably weird. As soon as he left, everything was fine. He didn't think someone was messing with the Gu family. It was far too powerful to be undermined so quietly. His inexplicable run of bad luck Had he somehow offended someone? He'd made a few enemies over the years, sure, but nothing that would explain this. Gu Qingjuan's head was spinning. He was alone in the world and had been abandoned by his own family. He sat on the bed, lost in despair. Then, a notification pinged on his phone. It was a text from Lin Luoxue, reminding him to eat. His expression softened. That's right, he still had Luoxue, sweet, kind, and beautiful Luoxue. She didn't judge him and loved him unconditionally. After a few days of wallowing in self-pity, Gu Qingjun snapped out of it. If he couldn't return to the Gu family, he'd find a job. He believed that, despite everything, he could still make a good life for himself. He flooded the job boards with resumes. Because he was the former president of Ninghui Entertainment, he landed a job quickly. Lin Luoxue didn't press him about not going home. As long as he was making enough to cover his share of the rent, utilities, and groceries, she was fine. He would eventually go back, but neither Gu Qingjun nor Lin Luoxue anticipated what happened next. Gu Qingjun got fired after just a few days, without receiving a single paycheck. Gu Qingjun was crushed. His bad luck seemed to have gotten worse. He was constantly late, or he accidentally corrupted files. He even came close to derailing a major project. He was lucky the company didn't sue him. Getting paid was out of the question. Qingjun, what happened? It's my fault. Gu Qingjun didn't know what to say. Was he really going to blame it on his unlucky streak? He couldn't say that. What are you going to do now? I'll try another company. Okay. Lin Luoxue wanted to ask why he didn't just go home, but bit her tongue. She had to play it cool. She didn't believe his sob story about being banished anyway. Gu Qingjun worked for several more companies. Every time, the result was the same. He was fired. He didn't understand. Was he really cursed? Was someone deliberately sabotaging him? What was he supposed to do? Gu Qingjun couldn't find a job, which meant he had to rely on Lin Luoxue. He was humiliated. He didn't have any other choice. Lin Luoxue watched as Gu Qingjun joined a company, only to be fired a few days later. She was numb. In her past life, she had been on top of the world. How had she ended up in this mess? Lin Luoxue wanted to scream, but she kept up the sweet, encouraging act. She was giving Gu Qingjun the performance of a lifetime. Chapter 85 The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 21. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanhuan felt pretty good about how things were shaping up for Lin Luoxue and Gu Qingjun. That jinx had ruined Gu Qingjun's chances of ever climbing the ladder again. Forget fancy jobs, he'd be lucky to land a gig as a clerk or ditch digger. Xuanhuan wasn't sure if Lin Luoxue truly loved Gu Qingjun or if she was just after his family's money. Now it seemed like she was in it for his status. She was even throwing money his way, hoping for a life of luxury. Wonder how she'll feel when she realizes Gu Qingjun is never going back to that life. With those two a mess, Xuanhuan was ready to make his move. Just days ago, Xuanhuan and Xuanhuan booked a flight to Japan for a getaway. Hearing that, Xuanhuan asked the system to keep tabs on them. If Xuanhuan was going to pull something, this was the time. Last night, the system spotted Xuanhuan sneaking out for a smoke, looking downright sinister. Hey, check it out. He looks scary. Xuanhuan checked the system panel and saw Xuanhuan's complicated expression, a far cry from the facade he put on for everyone else. He looked downright vicious. Send Xuanhuan a heads up. Got it. The system zapped a message to Xuanhuan, basically saying Xuanhuan was plotting against her and to watch her back. Just as Xuanhuan read the message, Xuanhuan walked out. She glanced at the weird warning and scoffed. Here we go again, badmouthing Xuanhuan. She wasn't buying it. She trusted her own gut. She and Xuanhuan had been together for years. They were married with kids, even if they weren't public about it. Their feelings were real. She loved Xuanhuan, and she believed he loved her back. Why would he want to hurt her? There was no reason. Whoever was sending these messages was just a bored troublemaker. Xuanhuan deleted the message and went back to her phone, acting like nothing happened. The system, spying on Xuanhuan through her phone, got anxious. She doesn't believe me. Oh well, not my problem. Xuanhuan shrugged. He wasn't obligated to protect Xuanhuan, he was just protecting her to take down Xia Yingwei. Xia Yingwei had been playing the perfect gentleman for so long that it was ingrained in Xuanhuan's mind. It was no surprise she didn't believe the warnings. After all, who would you trust more? Your husband or some random message from an unknown source? Xuanhuan had just wanted to give her a fair warning, so she could avoid getting hurt. If she didn't believe it, so be it. The talisman was still working, so she wouldn't die, no matter what Xia Yingwei did, and honestly, if she got hurt, her revenge against Xia Yingwei would be even more brutal, which would help Xuanhuan complete his mission. So, whether she believed it or not didn't really matter. Xuanhuan wasn't buying it. She had seen evidence that Xia Yingwei had caused her car accident, and she was a little shaken. But after seeing someone who was so careful, considerate and gentle to her, she chose to believe Xia Yingwei. She had been secretly observing Xia Yingwei, but after a period of observation, it turned out that he was very normal. Xuanhuan completely believed in Xia Yingwei in the warm relationship afterwards, and she felt guilty for her previous suspicion of him. Now she received similar information again, and she didn't believe a word. Xuanhuan always believed she and Xia Yingwei were in love, right up until the moment he shoved her off a cliff. On the second day of their trip, they passed a scenic overlook, and Xia Yingwei suddenly stopped. Honey, isn't this view amazing? Want to take a picture? Xuanhuan agreed, sure. Stand over there, and I'll snap a pic. I promise to make my princess look like the most beautiful woman in the world. Xia Yingwei grinned. You're such a charmer. Xuanhuan posed, and Xia Yingwei took her photo. Then, she took one of him, and they snapped a selfie together. Xuanhuan was on cloud 9 all day. On the third day, Xia Yingwei suggested climbing the most famous mountain in the area, and Xuanhuan jumped at the chance. Even though she was a rich girl, she had always been into outdoor activities like mountain climbing, so she was thrilled. The next morning, they woke up early and started their climb. They took souvenir photos, just like the day before, when they reached a steep drop-off. Xuanhuan was carefully making her way along the edge when Xia Yingwei suddenly pushed her. As she fell, Xuanhuan was completely bewildered. Was it an accident? She was still subconsciously looking for excuses for Xia Yingwei, but that was a lot of force. Xuanhuan figured she was dead, falling from that height, but when she landed, she was still conscious. It hurt. God, did it hurt? Her legs felt broken. Xuanhuan lay there for hours until a group of people finally showed up, and there was Xia Yingwei, the guy who had just pushed her. Her mind was clearer than ever, and she remembered the strange message she had received. As the group approached, Xuanhuan stared at Xia Yingwei's face. Watching his expression, she saw a flicker of surprise and anger in his eyes when he saw she was still alive. Xia Yingwei was genuinely shocked. How could Xuanhuan survive a fall like that? She should have been a goner. But he quickly masked his surprise with a look of anxious helplessness. Wani, are you okay? It was all my fault. I accidentally bumped into you, and you fell. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. I'm so glad you're alive. What would I do without you? Listening to Xia Yingwei's heartfelt apology, Xuanhuan didn't know what to say. With her body throbbing in pain from the fall. Was that an accident? She scoffed inwardly. If it weren't for the force of his push and that look of shock, she might have believed him. Chapter 86 The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 22. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanhuan was rushed to the hospital and into surgery. When she woke up, she was in bed, watching Xia Yingwei fuss over her. His face was a mask of guilt and concern, but looking at him, a chill went through her. Considering the fall, her injuries weren't that bad, just some scrapes and fractures. Wani, I'm so sorry. I swear, I just bumped into you. It was an accident. I didn't mean to. Since she'd woken up, Xia Yingwei had been repeating his accidental bump story. Xuanhuan couldn't bring herself to believe him anymore, not this man she'd been with for years. Yeah, she said weakly. She didn't want to talk to him, just wait for her father to arrive and then figure things out. Xie Yingwei saw her change in attitude and knew she was suspicious. He panicked for a second, then calmed himself down. So what if she suspected him? Did she have proof? Could she prove he'd pushed her? No way. The worst that could happen was she'd drift away, eventually leaving him, divorcing him, but wasn't that what he wanted anyway? He'd been wanting out of this relationship for ages. He'd only gotten with her for her family's money. He was tired of pretending to be someone he wasn't, but he couldn't leave yet. The Qian family had given him everything. If they split up, the support would dry up, plus, he'd look like a total jerk, so, he had to suck it up, but things were spiraling. Xuanhuan got pregnant, and her father insisted they get married. He'd refused, but if he didn't cave, he was finished. He'd worked hard to build a perfect public image, a bright future, and he wasn't about to let it be destroyed. So, one bad decision had led to another, and now he was here. Too bad Xuanhuan hadn't died the first 2 times he tried to kill her. Xuanhuan looked at Xie Yingwei's fake smile, fear gripping her until the police arrived, giving her courage. She knew the local language. When they questioned her, she blurted out the truth about the fall. I felt him push me, but he said it was an accident, but it wasn't. He pushed me hard. The officers exchanged glances. They'd already questioned the husband, who'd claimed it was an accident. They simply replied, "Okay, ma'am, we'll look into it." After they left, Xuanhuan knew that without evidence, it was her word against his. She had to play it cool and wait for her father to arrive. After Xie Yingwei came back, that afternoon, her father finally arrived, looking exhausted. "Wani, how are you?" He rushed into the room and, seeing her lying there, tears welled up in his eyes. Xuanhuan had been resting, or pretending to rest, but she opened her eyes at the sound of the door. She'd assumed it was Xie Yingwei returning. "Dad," she said, relieved. The worries she had been harboring started to dissipate. "Wani, how are you? Where does it hurt? Are you badly injured?" "I'm okay, Dad. Just a fall. Nothing major." "Nothing major? You call this nothing major?" Her father was devastated. She was his only daughter. "Really, Dad? Just some scrapes. I'll be fine after a few days of rest." "Where's Candy?" Xuanhuan decided not to reveal her suspicions yet. Without proof, it would only worry him and risk a backlash from Xie Yingwei's fans. She quickly changed the subject. Once she recovered, she would separate from Xie Yingwei and investigate. No need to rush things. Candy's fine. I've arranged for someone to look after her. Don't worry. Thank you, Dad. Candy was Xuanhuan's daughter's nickname. Mentioning her lightened the mood. "Don't be silly, why are you thanking me?" They talked for a long time, and after he was satisfied that his daughter was okay, Qian's father calmed down a little. When Xie Yingwei walked in, he saw them talking. Qian's father glared at him. His daughter was hurt because of him, and he didn't try to hide his anger. Xie Yingwei tried to look concerned. "Dad, you're here." "Yeah," Qian's father said coldly. "I'm so sorry," Xie Yingwei said, all sincerity. "It's all my fault. I shouldn't have suggested climbing the mountain. I bumped into Wani, and she fell. She suffered because of me. I'm so sorry." Hearing this, Qian's father was even angrier. He blamed everything on this kid, who had made his daughter suffer so much. However, he held back his frustration as his daughter appeared to really love him. Xuanhuan watched Xie Yingwei's act with a cold heart. She thought the ordeal was over, but the police showed up at her room the next day. They arrested Xie Yingwei as soon as they entered. Qian's father was stunned, and Xuanhuan was shocked, seeing his son-in-law being led away. Qian's father started to intervene, but Xuanhuan quickly stopped him. So, Qian's father stood still, watching Xie Yingwei being taken away. A policeman came over to explain. They had evidence that Xie Yingwei had pushed her. Someone had been recording that day and caught the whole thing on camera. Xuanhuan felt a complicated mix of emotions. Her father, on the other hand, was filled with rage. His face turned red with anger. After the police left, he demanded an explanation. "Xuanhuan, now that the truth was out, told him everything. Hearing the full story, Qian's father went pale and blamed himself. He'd spoiled his daughter, and she trusted everyone. He should have seen through Xuanhuan, but he hadn't, and now his daughter had almost been killed. Xuanhuan, seeing his distress, tried to comfort him. They stayed in the country for 2 weeks. After that, Xuanhuan, able to get around in a wheelchair, returned home. Xuanhuan remained behind, charged with attempted murder. Chapter 87 The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 23. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Around the same time, the news about Xuanhuan hit the internet like a bomb. The headline screamed, actor Xuanhuan secretly married, had a child, and tried to kill his wife. Pushed her off a cliff while on vacation, now detained in country R. That the story exploded, triggering a massive wave of comments and shares. Xuanhuan, the guy who won Best Actor so young. Known for his easygoing personality and popularity. How could he do something like that? Initially, disbelief was the most common reaction. Fans refused to believe it, and so did plenty of casual observers. Then, the internet sleuths started digging, determined to uncover the truth, and soon, the facts were confirmed. It was all true. The internet went wild. Almost immediately, every brand Xuanhuan endorsed dropped him like a hot potato. Movies and TV shows he was in were pulled from streaming services. He was officially blacklisted. His career was over. He'd never work in public again. Xuanhuan only found out about all of this after returning home. Her father had been shielding her, afraid the news would affect her recovery. It wasn't until a friend visited that she learned the truth, that her marriage to Xuanhuan had become public knowledge. Her friend looked at her, concerned. "Wani, don't be sad. You still have Candy, your uncle, and all of us." "I'm not sad anymore," Xuanhuan replied with a smile. After her friend left, Xuanhuan went online and quickly pieced together what had happened. The paparazzi had posted about her relationship with Xuanhuan a few days earlier. Given Xuanhuan's fame, the story went viral instantly. She frowned. She hadn't wanted her personal life splashed all over the internet, especially if it hurt her family. Thankfully, the focus was almost entirely on Xuanhuan. Nobody seemed to be paying attention to her. Her family's past remained private, because it was Xuanhuan, known for his squeaky clean image, who had done this crazy thing. The big question was why. Xuanhuan clicked on a few threads analyzing his motives. Some speculated he had a mistress and wanted to get rid of his wife, others suggested it was her fault, that she was too arrogant and overbearing, pushing Xuanhuan to his breaking point. After all, he was a successful actor. Why would he risk everything to commit murder? The theories were all over the place. The truth was, Xuanhuan couldn't figure out why he'd done it either. During her time in country R, she'd been stuck in the hospital. She hadn't seen Xuanhuan again until she returned home a few days ago. She never had a chance to ask him. Xuanhuan had always considered herself lucky, born into a loving family, cherished and spoiled. She had a happy childhood. Then, during her freshman year of college, her mother died in an accident, and she met Xuanhuan during her darkest hour. He was a drama student at the school next door. They met through mutual friends, connected, and eventually fell in love. He had been a constant source of comfort during her grief. She thought she had found true love, a love like her parents had shared, but now, reality had slapped her in the face. Luckily, she had a chance to start over. Whatever his reasons for wanting her dead, nothing justified pushing her off that cliff. Xuanhuan felt like she had grown up a lot after this incident. Xuanhuan, meanwhile, was initially unnerved by his arrest. But he quickly told himself there weren't many people around at the time. No witnesses, no real evidence. They couldn't prove anything, so, he pretended to be calm and went with the police without a struggle. During interrogation, he stuck to his story. It was an accident. He'd barely touched her, just a slight nudge, and she'd fallen. He felt terrible about it, negligent injury. Even if Xuanhuan pressed charges, she was only slightly injured and her life was not in danger. What could they do to him? He was confident he'd be released soon. He was a star. He had fans. Even if he had come this far because of his fans, surely, his fans would stand up for him. Xuanhuan had it all figured out, except he didn't realize someone had been following him. recording every moment of his crime. When Xuanhuan suspected Xia Yingwei was up to no good, he posted a job on the dark web: follow Xia Yingwei and Xuanhuan. Someone quickly accepted the assignment. It was easy work for a high reward. The mercenary followed them carefully and captured Xia Yingwei, deliberately shoving Xuanhuan, and after Xuanhuan offered even more money, he went to the police station as a witness and handed over the video. In fact, what convinced the police that Xia Yingwei's actions were intentional was the video of him pushing Xuanhuan without any panic and even laughing. After confirming that the video was genuine, the police arrested Xia Yingwei. While he was locked up, Xia Yingwei had no idea what was happening in the outside world. Then he found out, he was being sentenced. From the moment of his arrest to the moment he was imprisoned, he never saw Qian or her father again. Seeing Xia Yingwei sentenced and permanently banned from the entertainment industry, Xuanhuan moved on. He was greedy and suffered the consequences. His life was ruined. Xuanhuan then turned his attention to Lin Luoxue and Gu Qingjun. Lin Luoxue's attitude toward Gu Qingjun had shifted lately. She was growing increasingly impatient. Before, Gu Qingjun had gradually started to doubt himself after failing to find a job again and again. Lin Luoxue had looked at him every day, and no matter what she felt in her heart, she would tell herself to be patient, because she would not let the wolf catch the child. However, after Gu Qingjun's affairs were exposed, she suddenly doubted her rebirth. Will the things in this life be the same as those in the previous life? Before, those songs and works that would have been created a few years later in my previous life appeared in advance, causing me to fall flat on my face, and now, looking at Xia Yingwei, who is called a gigolo by the public, all of this is too different from my previous life. So, when I looked at the decadent and weird Gu Qingjun again, Lin Luoxue suddenly didn't want to continue like this. Chapter 88: The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 24. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Luoxue, what did you just say? You're breaking up with me? Gu Qingjun stared at Lin Luoxue, his face incredulous. Yeah, we're not a good fit. Let's call it quits, Lin Luoxue said, sounding impatient. Why? What do you mean, not a good fit? I don't buy it. You used to be so in love with me. We were fine before. Why all of a sudden? Enough. Lin Luoxue snapped, clearly annoyed. I don't like you anymore, okay? Have you even looked at yourself lately? That she was hung up on the powerful, untouchable Gu Qingjun of her past life, not the pathetic mess who'd been kicked out of his own family. A few days ago, she'd started to suspect things were different this time around, so she did some digging and discovered that the president of Ninghui Entertainment had been replaced. Even though the change was kept quiet, Ninghui Entertainment was a major player in the industry. It didn't take much effort to find out. That's when Lin Luoxue realized everything had changed. She was relying too much on her memories of her previous life. The new president of Ninghui Entertainment shared Gu's last name and was obviously family. This had never happened before. In her previous life, Gu Qingjun had always been the president. She was certain of it, but now Gu Qingjun was in this state, and nobody from the massive Gu family had even bothered to look for him. She suddenly remembered him mentioning being kicked out when they first met, but she hadn't taken him seriously then. Now, looking at the situation, it seemed like the truth. She'd been kidding herself, refusing to believe she was in debt tens of thousands of dollars because of him. Once it clicked, she came straight over. Now that Gu Qingjun was worse off than a regular guy, why should she coddle and support him? Looking at Gu Qingjun, who was a far cry from the man in her memory, Lin Luoxue felt nothing but scorn. Gu Qingjun was stunned. He was hurt, and then he was angry. Was it his fault he'd ended up like this? It was a bolt from the blue. Shouldn't his girlfriend be understanding and supportive? Why was she acting this way? So, you just decide you don't like me anymore? You want to break up? Well, I don't agree. That he had nothing left. Except for Lin Luoxue, he was empty-handed. He couldn't lose her too. Whether you agree or not, I'm done with you. No, you can't do this, Luoxue. You're all I have. You can't leave me. Lin Luoxue remained unmoved by his pathetic display. We're through. I won't be back. With that, she slammed the door behind her. Gu Qingjun didn't chase after her. He stood there, heartbroken, a pained look in his eyes. Lin Luoxue's face was grim as she walked away. No matter what, she was never getting back together with Gu Qingjun. She'd lost big time, everything, in fact. Talk about bad luck. Without a second glance, Lin Luoxue marched on. Shiqing and the system watched the breakup, unsurprised. These two weren't going to cause any major trouble. A little nudge here and there would keep them from ever rising above mediocrity, and that was punishment enough. He'd booked another role and was about to head back to set. Shiqing diligently filmed every day and occasionally checked in with Sue's parents. Lin Luoxue hadn't been around since their argument with Gu Qingjun. Gu Qingjun kept trying to contact her and even showed up at school, but Lin Luoxue kept dodging him. Eventually, Gu Qingjun seemed to give up. Lin Luoxue finally accepted that her past life was useless because the future had changed. Her memories had misled her, costing her everything. She'd have to start over. She went to class and tagged along with her roommates, trying to land acting gigs, but where her roommates were focused on honing their skills, she was desperate for money. She took any role she could get, no matter how small. Her online loan was ballooning from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. Lin Luoxue found that her acting income barely made a dent in her debt. One day, in a lounge, she walked in on a sleazy assistant director getting handsy with an actress. "Sorry, I didn't see anything. I'll just go," she stammered. Having spent years in the entertainment industry in her previous life, Lin Luoxue knew these things happened. She was terrified of being caught in the middle. She was convinced there would be repercussions, but nothing happened. The actress didn't even acknowledge her, acting as if nothing had occurred. Later, the assistant director kept giving her knowing glances. Shiqing continued filming, only occasionally checking in on Lin Luoxue and Gu Qingjun. He knew Lin Luoxue had changed a lot after facing reality and was trying to get back into acting. After Lin Luoxue cut him off, Gu Qingjun was forced to find a job. His bad luck led him to day labor handing out flyers, barely scraping by. The once sharp-dressed, arrogant Gu Qingjun was now just another face on the street. Shiqing was fully focused on becoming a movie star. In addition to the drama he was filming with Xia Yingui, several other projects were released to positive reviews. As a talented and handsome newcomer, he was gaining a following. Shiqing was content, choosing roles carefully with the system's guidance. The sets were usually friendly, and he spent his days acting and learning from others. The system volunteered to keep tabs on the mission targets. One day, the system's voice sounded more urgent than usual. Host, Lin Luoxue is about to be taken advantage of. No, she's going to let it happen. Chapter 89, The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 25. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shiqing was a little taken aback. Even though Lin Luoxue had always been a nobody playing supporting roles before her rebirth, she had never given in to the industry's sleazy side. In the original story, she rose to fame by stepping on others, shining brightly, never lacking opportunities, and had several men eager to help her out. Her path was smooth, so it was surprising she'd resort to sleeping her way to the top this time. Shiqing's surprise lasted only a few seconds. Then he remembered the mountain of online loan debt the system had shown him, and it clicked. If that's what she wants, then let her be, Shiqing told the system. Understood. The system took his word for it and dropped the matter. Meanwhile, in a hotel room, Lin Luoxue stared at the greasy middle-aged man in front of her, her emotions a tangled mess. But she kept a forced smile plastered on her face. As the man approached, step by step, Lin Luoxue felt a wave of sadness wash over her. She never imagined she'd sink this low. Even though her past life had been tough, she'd never considered using her body to get ahead, and she'd always looked down on those who did. It was ironic that after being reborn, she'd stooped to the very thing she despised. Luoxue, as long as you're a good girl, I'll take care of you, the greasy man cooed, resting his hand on her thigh. Lin Luoxue feigned shyness. Thank you, Mr. Wang. She'd met Mr. Wang at a party a few days earlier. When he'd offered to support her, her first reaction had been disgust, but days later, watching her debt pile up, she'd had no choice but to call Mr. Wang, a man who made her skin crawl just by looking at him. She needed money. A ton of it, and fast. But she couldn't earn that kind of money quickly, so she was left with this option, selling herself and her pride. After someone caught the assistant director fooling around with an actress on set, the assistant director had been hitting on her, dropping not-so-subtle hints. Lin Luoxue felt sick and unsettled by it. She immediately left the production after finishing her scenes, and now she'd come to this. Lin Luoxue smiled bitterly to herself. One wrong move was all it took. She should never have taken out those online loans. Even getting a scolding from her parents for borrowing money from them would have been better than this, but it was too late for regrets. The online loan debt was spiraling out of control, reaching hundreds of thousands. There was no way she could pay it back. If she didn't pay, and the debt collectors came knocking, her life would be ruined. And telling her parents now was out of the question. Her family wasn't rich. Was she really going to let them sell everything to bail her out? Even if they were willing, how would they live? What if word got out? The judgment alone would be enough to shame her into hiding forever. She wanted to be a star. This lifetime dream, plus the last, couldn't be crushed over this one mistake. So, after weighing her options, Lin Luoxue had chosen to accept the unspoken rules. The next day, Lin Luoxue received $100,000, which she immediately used to pay off the loan. The system watched Lin Luoxue's actions, speechless. A quick check revealed that Mr. Wang was the owner of a small business, married with kids, and just wanted to have some fun with Lin Luoxue. When Shirqing found out that Mr. Wang was just a small-time boss who couldn't really help Lin Luoxue's career, and that she probably wouldn't make any waves, he stopped caring and let her do whatever she wanted. Around this time, Sue's mother was nearing the end of her pregnancy. Shirqing took some time off to go home. Seeing that she was doing well, he gave her another pill to strengthen her body. After all, Sue's mother was having a late-in-life pregnancy. With this pill, her safety was more assured, and the twins wouldn't drain her too much. A little over a month later, Sue's mother safely delivered a pair of twins. Shirqing was on location filming that day. When he heard the news, he was ecstatic. After another month of filming, he went home to see his younger brother and sister. The two babies, dressed in matching outfits in different colors, lay quietly on the bed, blinking their eyes, absolutely adorable. Shirqing approached them and gently played with his new siblings. Sue's mother, who was sitting nearby, smiled, seeing that her eldest son and his younger siblings got along so well from the start. "Do you want to hold your younger brother and sister?" "Yes," Shirqing replied, carefully picking up the younger twin, Xuanhuan. Little Xuanhuan smiled sweetly when he picked her up, clearly liking her big brother. After holding Xuanhuan for a while, Shirqing handed her back to Sue's mother and picked up his younger brother, Su Rui, who had been watching him intently. Little Su Rui gave him a cute smile as he was lifted up. Sue's mother held little Xuanhuan, watching the scene with a happy smile. Even if her eldest son never got married or had kids, she wouldn't have to worry about him being alone in old age. With younger siblings, he'd have support, someone to rely on, and wouldn't be lonely. Shirqing had no idea what she was thinking. He was a monk, and romance wasn't that important to him. He wouldn't feel lonely, even alone. Still, Sue's mother loved her son dearly. It was a blessing to have such a mother. In the afternoon, Sue's father came home from work. He was thrilled to see his eldest son. The family of 5 was finally together for the first time, and they enjoyed a sumptuous dinner together. As for the 1-month-old babies, they could only drink milk. Shirqing's family life was harmonious, his career was thriving, and everything was moving in a positive direction. Lin Luoxue, on the other hand, was sinking deeper into the world of favors for favors. "You tramp. Seducing other people's husbands. You have no shame." One day, Shirqing saw Lin Luoxue through the system screen, her clothes torn, hair a mess, and an expressionless face. He was deeply saddened. Lin Luoxue wasn't exactly the strongest person, and after sleeping her way to success to pay off her loans, she found the path dangerous but smooth. So she went further and further down it. Now, she'd been caught in the act by the sponsor's wife. She lowered her head and silently endured the woman's insults, then snuck away when the woman wasn't paying attention. Shirqing asked the system to turn off the screen after Lin Luoxue ran away. Without a major helping hand, there was no way Lin Luoxue would ever make a comeback, and as for the handsome young man and the infatuated singer who admired her in the original story, because she wasn't in a high position this time. They didn't have a chance to meet her, let alone help her. These two people hadn't crossed paths with the original owner in the original story and had never harmed him. They weren't part of Shi mission. If Shi met them later, he would just pretend not to know them. Shi had been filming since graduation. He never signed with an agency. Later, he simply set up his own studio and became his own boss. Chapter 90 The Canon Fodder Ex-Boyfriend of the Reborn Heroine in the Entertainment Industry 26. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, Sue, long time no see. 3 years later, Shi was taking his seat at the Jinling Awards when he heard a familiar voice. He looked towards the sound and saw Tang Yun, radiant in a blue dress, smiling at him. It has been a while, Shi replied with a polite smile. It was like fate. Shi ended up working with her on several projects. At first, Tang Yun seemed to have a thing for him. But after Shi subtly dodged her advances, she picked up on his disinterest and switched to a strictly professional attitude. Eventually, they became friends. Shi was at the Jinling Awards, a prestigious film event co-sponsored by the China Film Association. He'd been invited because he'd spent the past few years honing his craft, racking up roles in numerous films and TV shows, and collecting various awards. Recently, a movie he starred in was a critical and commercial success, earning him a nomination. As Shi settled in, the venue filled. Soon, the award ceremony began. One award after another was handed out, leading up to the big one, Best Actor. Several talented actors were nominated, Shi among them. The presenters joked around, building the suspense before finally announcing the winner. And the Jinling Award for Best Actor goes to Su Yang. The theater erupted in applause. Shi walked on stage, accepted the trophy, and gave his acceptance speech. Standing there, basking in the congratulatory and envious glances, Shi felt he'd finally fulfilled the original owner's dreams. Congrats, host. You're amazing. The first congratulatory message came from his trusty system. He mentally sent back a thank you. After the ceremony, Shi, trophy in hand, emerged with his assistant and ran into Tang Yun. Congrats, Sue, she said, smiling. Shi, looking at his trophy, returned the sentiment. You too. Tang Yun was talented and driven. Without Lin Luoxue holding her back, her career had taken off, and she'd won Best Supporting Actress that night. They chatted briefly before going their separate ways, each heading home. When Shi walked in, Xuanhuan and Su Rui ran to greet him, grabbing onto his legs. Brother! Brother! Shi scooped up one child in each arm and carried them to the sofa. Always acting up, Su's mother said with a smile. It's okay, Mom. Shi smiled at the two kids, who were gazing up at him adoringly. After his Best Actor win, Shi scaled back his acting commitments, taking on only one role a year. He was the boss, after all, no one could tell him otherwise. With more free time, Shi stayed home more often, and Xuanhuan and Su Rui were constantly by his side. For some reason, kids seemed to gravitate towards Shi. His nieces and nephews in the other world and his younger siblings here all adored him. Shi gladly accepted their affection. They were well behaved, never cried, had the sweetest smiles, and called him brother so softly. It was hard not to love them. With his career on cruise control, Shi had more time to focus on his mission objectives. Lin Luoxue was still bouncing between film sets, living the life she'd always dreamed of. Except, instead of focusing on her career, she was still entangled with various men. Her life wasn't dull, but it was definitely a mess. 2 years later, Lin Luoxue crossed a powerful actress and her dirty laundry was aired for all to see. She was basically blacklisted and forced to leave the entertainment industry. Lin Luoxue's life spiraled, becoming even worse than before her rebirth. Ostracized, she had to endure the judgment of everyone around her. Gu Qingjuan's life wasn't much better. The once spoiled rich kid, after experiencing hardship, had become numb, slovenly, and apathetic. He was unrecognizable. Eventually, Xie Yingui was released from prison, divorced, broke, and unable to return to the industry. Abandoned by his family and friends, he ended up in the same boat as Gu Qingjun. With that, Shi's mission was complete. Shirqing announced his retirement at 40 and traveled the world. After his adventures, he came back and became a director. His name became synonymous with quality in the entertainment business. One day, Gu Qingjun sat alone in his dingy apartment. He used what little money he had to buy a few beers. It was his birthday, and he was all alone. After a few beers, he felt drowsy. He was exhausted from his day labor. He drifted off to sleep. He had a dream where he was still part of the Gu family, president of Ninghui Entertainment. In his dream, Ninghui Entertainment flourished, his career thrived, and he was full of life. He wasn't unlucky. He wasn't cast out of the Gu family. He also met Lin Luoxue, who was even more extraordinary. Lin Luoxue was talented, passionate, and charming. He fell for her and signed her to Ninghui for a fortune. He slowly fell in love with her, and they became a couple. Then he found out that Lin Luoxue had an ex-boyfriend who he hated, so he used the Gu family's power to bankrupt his family, but that was just a small blip. It actually strengthened his relationship with Lin Luoxue, and they became a power couple. They loved each other until they were old and lived happily ever after. When Gu Qingjun woke up, looking around his bare apartment, he remembered his dream. He realized he was losing it. He wasn't even into Lin Luoxue anymore. Even in a dream, why her? After Lin Luoxue dumped him, he didn't just move on. He tried to find her, but she wouldn't see him. He had really liked her back then, partly because she was good to him, partly because he actually liked her as a person. But she kept avoiding him. Eventually, he gave up. He applied for a lot of jobs, but he was always fired. Finally, he found some day labor to keep him afloat. He contacted his mother, but she said the same thing as before, that she couldn't help him because of her daughter and her family. He contacted his father, who said the same thing, that the old man was angry and he had to wait. His cousin said similar things. Basically, it all came down to, I can't help you. Good luck. Gu Qingjun finally gave up. Now, decades later, he had this dream. He'd heard the rumors about Lin Luoxue over the years, and he didn't even care about her anymore. Why would he dream about her? Weird. Gu Qingjun shook his head, trying to shake off the dream. He got out of bed, got ready, and went out to work. The rent was due.